Okay, so the last time someone around 13 stabbed someone, it was two girls, and they were both mentally disabled. Literally, they had mental disorders. 20 years before that, before the girls in, like, the US stabbed someone because Slender Man, 20 years before that, in the UK, two boys without knives killed a kid, and the press blamed it all on Chucky. Because at some point, the dad of one of the bullies had rented Chucky, the Child's Play 3. And people thought that the kids watched Child's Play 3. But Child's Play 3 was about a teenage version of the kid, and the guy then rented while his kid was in his home. So it was absolute nonsense. Around that time, in the early 90s, weird things like a test of preschools asking children what horror movies they had watched was totally bogus, because people replicated the study with titles of movies that didn't exist, and they got pretty high results. Nevertheless, the UK banned video nasties. Now, it is illegal to show your kids grabbers as a parent if they're under 16. Look up grabbers. It is exactly as stupid as you might think it is. Around that same time, in the early 90s, the UK also tightened its control over guns. Basically, for the most part, banning guns in the entirety of the UK. So a couple of years passed, and the UK in the late 90s spent the largest amount of money in the entire European Union adjacent area on one public project, which was mainly hiring Fujitsu to make a digital system to handle the UK's mail. So, the UK's mail worked on a franchise model. And whenever people who had contracted with the post office to run a post office in their local place got the digital system, got the computers, and started using the computers gave them errors. 3,000 people were falsely accused of stealing money from the post office over the course of something like a decade. The post office was fully aware of this, but lied to the authorities and even got hundreds of people falsely convicted of stealing money from them. Literally, they had people in their basement correcting the errors from the Fujitsu system. Around the early 2000s, the UK also thought it was a great idea to conspire to alter EU elections by blackmailing people. Keira Knightley did a movie about that. Now, the Prime Minister of Britain has spent half a year lying about the Southport riots, saying that his political opponents sent people to agitate the people of a small town, ignoring literally the testimony of cops who were at that small town, who said that literally the farthest away someone rioting lived from Southport was 12 miles. So that's like a 2-hour drive. The Prime Minister of Britain is making room in prisons to push anti-free speech legislation to imprison his political opponents. Or more accurately, to scare his low-level political opponents into not voicing their concerns with his regime. So this thing drops on Netflix, and it's about a 13-year-old, not a 15-year-old, stabbing some girl because he listened to Andrew Tate. Now, Andrew Tate is popular with incels, but the 13-year-old kid doesn't look like an incel. He's not wearing black. He has literal spaceships on his sheets, and his family, his home life is perfectly stable. And the showrunners are going around telling people that they want adolescents being shown in schools to propagandize to children about a thing that is clearly not accurate. And it's just gonna help the Prime Minister lie about his political opponents and help him with free speech suppression legislation. So, it's a 4-episode ad on the streaming service that I pay for monthly. I actually pay for Netflix, and this thing exists. Blatant political propaganda, fear-mongering against free speech. It's not a critical examination about the mindset of 15-year-olds. It's a lie about 13-year-olds that are going to stab each other. Andrew Tate might be popular with incels, but he's not very popular in junior high. In fact, people in the anti-fandom community are often very confused when the crazy people who spend 2 hours telling us about how J.K. Rowling is a transphobe, without telling us J.K. Rowling is a transphobe, and instead wasting most of their time talking about themselves or random things, bring up Ben Shapiro, Andrew Tate, and that sexist guy from the Lady Ballers movie. We are very, very, very confused whenever people bring those people up, because we have literally nothing to do with Andrew Tate. And the fact that this movie is about a 13-year-old makes me think, like, maybe, just possibly, just theoretically possibly, that the type of legislation that is going to come out from this is going to target gamers specifically, and people complaining about things like the Doctor Who replacement show with the black guy who constantly tells you that he's gay and calls you a racist, sexist, misogynist pig or whatever the hell he says about people who don't care about him being gay and wanting like actual good storytelling. Like, if the black guy was acting like actual Doctor Who, but gay, we would actually watch that show. But he's not. There's absolutely nothing Doctor Who about him whatsoever. Yeah, so basically, this actor right here just got his big break by promoting a dystopia. And the media is gonna cast him in a billion, gajillion different places. I wonder what's gonna happen to this kid when he grows up and figures it out. Yeah. We're all the boogeyman. Yeah.